Hey everybody, Tim Rosgany here. So my girlfriend has a saying, what you put in your heart grows in your heart. And I love it because it's basic, it's simple, it's true. What you hold onto, what you let in, what you let take root grows and gets bigger. And I think the same holds true when it comes to the head. What you put in your head grows in your head. And I've been aware lately of things that I'm putting in my head and that aren't necessarily good. And so that brings me to the topic of the news. I'm somebody who, I spent a career working in newspapers. So, I will say I believe in journalism and the power of journalism as an important part of democracy, a true democracy, and the power of investigative journalism, especially to shine a light on things that no one else would ever look at. At its finest, journalism is out there. Journalists are out there showing us things that no one else will bother to dig into, and it's a wonderful thing. I also know that after a career in newspapers, that the news is not reflective of the world. The news, in general, is a very carefully curated assortment of information. And there is a focus there that is not necessarily good for the spirit, the soul, the mind, the heart. The focus is on conflict. If you look at the stories that show up on the front page of a newspaper, or that, show up in the top of the feed, or if you watch TV news, it's conflict. It's going to be the things, mostly it's going to be the worst things that have happened in the world today. That's what gets into the newspaper. That's what gets into the feeds. And because, I don't know, that's what draws people like conflict on some level. It's what we're accustomed to. But what it's showing you, and I realize this, that it had a long-term impact on me. It shows you a world that isn't safe. It shows you a world where everything's going wrong, where people are indiscriminately killing each other. Where everyone's out to, get over on the system, or, get away with whatever they can get away with. People acting badly. Those things happen, but there is so much more that is actually happening in the world. So, but that's the sort of thing that doesn't make the news. All those wonderful things that go on. So, so for me, what I did after so many years in the news, I stopped watching. I stopped reading the newspaper. I realized this wasn't showing me the world I wanted to live in. This was showing me a world that was focused on a world of conflict, a world of crime and violence and bad behavior. And there was, it was a world that wasn't safe. And that there was something about that felt, familiar, because I grew up in a setting that wasn't safe. So as a kid, I lived in a world that wasn't safe. I grew up in that kind of world. So the news would reinforce that. And it had a profound impact. So I had to separate from it. And and then I started to look at things, from a different perspective. And, I found that, what's real for me, what do I experience in my day-to-day life? I don't walk around the world. I don't see crime happening around me. I don't encounter violence every day. I don't see people killing each other. I have had bad things happen. But the world that I move in, the world that I see, thank goodness, for the most part, it's people trying to live their lives in peace. It's people trying to be, when they have an opportunity to be kind, they want to be kind. It's a world where there's so much beauty to see. You know, I mean, occasionally a photo of a beautiful sunset might make it into the newspaper as a feature. But, you know, that's not going to be headline news. Oh my God, another glorious sunset last night. But that's part of the world I live in. I see so much beauty around me. So, you know, for the longest time, I just avoided the news because I realized that it wasn't a good thing for me to put in my head. It wasn't giving me peace. It was reinforcing things that weren't healthy. So, but a few months ago, I got myself a new phone, and a Google phone. It had the news right there. It's like, you know, you almost can't avoid it. So I started looking at things. It got me into looking at things. I had an Android phone, Samsung phone, and I don't know. It just didn't. It wasn't in my face the way it was once I got my new phone. So I almost couldn't avoid it. And so I started looking at things. And the way that it works with the phone, whatever you look at, it'll show you more of. So, you know, so if I look at a story about something, Peter Gabriel, one of my favorite musical artists, all of a sudden I'm being overwhelmed with, you know, stories about Peter Gabriel and Genesis, and, you know, or if I'm looking at something about, you know, about the war in the Ukraine, I'd get more and more about that, or whatever it is, you know, cooking. So what it does is, because of those algorithms, it takes what you're looking at and it feeds you more of it. So you have to be so careful what you look at and what you let in, because depending on your mindset, it'll just reinforce that. So if you look at stories about, you know, if you're a conspiracy person, you know, and you look at those sort of stories, that's all you'll start to see. You know, and it just shows you a world it's like that's all there is. And it's like talk about going down in the rabbit hole. And that leads me to the other thing I recently did was I had, you know, I got rid of Facebook about a year ago. I do use social media. Obviously, here I am doing a YouTube video. But I had never looked at TikTok. And about 2 or 3 months ago with my new phone, I don't know, I downloaded TikTok, started looking at it, and oh my God, it's such a time suck. And it is so full of junk. I mean, there's some good content there for sure, you know, but the vast majority of it is junk. And whatever you look at, it feeds you more of. If you look at a video with, I don't know, natural, like a tsunami video or something, you know, all of a sudden you're going to see tsunami videos. So what does this do? What does this do? It's like going down the rabbit hole. It's like digging a hole. And when you're in a hole and you get this narrow perspective on things, all you look up, you see this tiny sliver of light at the top. You don't really see what's going on. So it's a metaphor for what happens. What you let into your mind, what you let into your heart takes root and it grows. So you know, my thought is, please acknowledge and realize that the news is not reflective of the world. The news is reflective of a particular way of looking at things, a curated perspective on the world that focuses on conflict, that focuses on negative, focuses on bad behavior, because that's going to sell more newspapers. That's going to get more eyeballs. That's going to let you, you know, and then it's all about ads. It's all about money. At the end of the day, I mean, it's a business. So, you know, I'm not saying put your phone away. I'm not saying throw your phone away. Don't look at stuff. I'm saying recognize it for what it is and think about the world you live in. and the world you move in. When you are out in the world, are people getting mugged and killed all around you? Are you seeing, is it conflict, or are you seeing something else? Are you seeing people trying to live their life in peace? Are you seeing people who want to be kind to one another? Are you seeing amazing beauty all around you? Because that's what's real. That is what is real. And it's it's a wonderful thing. And if you look at that and you acknowledge that part of life, and that is what is out there, that reinforces itself. That becomes what you see. So be, I just want to say, be careful what you let into your head and your heart. Um, Recognize that just because you see it, just because it's being fed to you through social media, through the news media, whatever, that isn't reality. It's just one way of looking at things, and it's not designed to make you happy. It's not designed to bring you peace. It's designed to keep you hooked, and it's designed to keep you looking. So, with that, think about the world you want to live in and look for those things in the world. Look for the good because it's out there. Look for the beauty because it's all around you. And if you put that in your head, if you put that in your heart, that takes root and that starts to grow. And that is, it's a wonderful thing. And so I will, I will end it there. I hope that message resonates for you. Thank you for listening. You're going to see a link to a current video. You're going to see a link to subscribe to this channel. And I would love for you to put your own thoughts in the comments if you're interested in that whole idea of your thoughts on what you put in your head grows in your head. What you put in your heart grows in your heart. And please, please, as always, be good to yourself, be gentle and kind to yourself. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Be well.